Hey folks, welcome to my channel Number Pen. So there we have the problem on the screen. Differentiate the following. Y equals sine of tan of root sine x, right? So so we have four functions, right? So how do I arrive at the number four? We have a sine function, that's our outermost function. Then I have a tan function. Then I have a root function. Then again I have a sine function, right? So I'm not going to solve this by the method of substitution. You can do a you can solve this problem using the method of substitution by doing a tan of root sine x equals u, and but we're going to skip the substitution steps and directly go about solving it like we solved in one of our earlier videos. And how do we go about doing that? So we will pick up the outermost function, right? So what is our outer function? Let me use my draw pen to highlight that. So the way we do this, and let me write down my y. So I will highlight it using green and yellow at each step, right? Yellow being my outer function and green being my inner function, right? So for sine, right? For the outer function sine, what is my inner function? My inner function is tan of root of sine x, right? So how do we go about solving this is what we are going to see. Let me this. I first differentiate the outer function, which is my sine highlighted in yellow, with respect to the inner function, which is highlighted in green, right? So I'm going to write it. So I retain the inner function as it is. So this is my step one, and then I'm not yet over. Then what do I do is I do an into, and then I do a d by dx of the inner function, right? When I say inner function, remember folks, we have more than two functions inside, right? We have three functions within the green color itself. We have a tan, we have a root, we have a sin x, right? So we need to figure out what is d by dx of my inner function, right? My inner function is tan of root sin x, right? So that's what we have. So now I have to figure out what is my d by dx of tan root sin x, right? Now, how do I do that? Again, by the same method, identify what is my outer function. My outer function, folks, as usual, I'm going to do it with an yellow and I highlight that. And for the outer function tan, what is the inner function? The inner function is a root sin x, right? So we will write the next step very similar to how we wrote it earlier. I'm going to copy this expression as it is, which is my cos of tan root sin x. And then when I do my d by dx of tan of root sin x, right, I differentiate the yellow function with respect to the green function. So what does it become? It becomes a secant square. And why is that? Because my d by dx of tan x is a secant square x. So when I do d by dx of tan of root of sin x, I will have to write it as secant square root sin x, right? So let's do that first. Secant square root of sin x, right? So that's not yet over because then we go to our inner function and we do a differentiation of the inner function with respect to x, right? So what is that? What is our inner function with respect to tan? So we are not yet done. D by dx of root tan x, sorry, root sin x, right? So this is what I have. So my green is going to be my sin x this time, and my outer function is going to be root, right? So let me not highlight it, but we will go to the next step. So my inner function is green, my outer function is square root. Now I'm going to rewrite y now. So these expressions, right, what we wrote in step 1 and step 2 remain as it is. So this is what I have. I'm not going to read it out for you folks. And then I do a d by dx of root of sine x. So I differentiate the root function first with respect to the inner function, which is my sine x, right? So what does it become? What is my d by dx of root x is 1 by 2 root x, right? So I write 1 by 2 root sine x, right? 1 by 2, and then I have a root of sine x, and then I go to my inner function and I do a d by dx of the inner function, which is sine x, right? And this is something that we are quite familiar with, d by dx of sine x, right? So now I go to my next step, y equals, I copy this expression as it is, and then what is my d by dx of sine x? My d by dx of sine x is something very familiar to me from first principles, and I know that it is cos x, right? So there we have our answer, and I'm taking a look at it to see if I can do any further simplification. The answer is no. I don't think I can do any further simplification. So I write my final answer in the form of x by y. So my denominator has a 2 root sine x, and my numerator will have three expressions. First expression being cos of tan root sine x into the second expression is secant square root sine x, and the third expression being cos x, right? So that's how we go about solving these problems. And there we have my final answer on screen. Let me highlight it in our usual pink. I'm sorry, folks. I just realized that wherever I have a y starting from step 1, that's not a y, that's a dy by dx, right? My apologies, folks. Yeah. So I hope you found this content useful. Please do subscribe to my channel and support. Thank you.